So imagine you planning your birthday, you and your boyfriend planning your birthday to go to Africa, of all places, for your 31st birthday. It appears that you're happy, everything's going well. Your boyfriend decides to propose to you. How exciting. You guys are in Africa, in a safari, walking with lions, living the dream. And then a few days later, you're gone. Regardless of what is being reported out there, there's something that's a little suspect about this story. So let's get into it.
Yeah, so beautiful, so lovely.
So before we get into what happened with Ashlee Jenae, let's talk a little bit about who she was. So Ashlee Jenae, her real name is Ashlee Robinson. She was a 31-year-old female who was born on April the 5th, 1995, and she died 4 days later on April the 9th, 2026. She was a content creator. She was a model. She described herself as a soft life divester. So when I saw the word divester, I was like, what, girl, what is that? So I had looked it up. So it's for someone's personal life. This is more a slang, modern usage. Someone who withdraws their time, energy, or attention from people or situations that don't serve them. So she traveled to Africa with her boyfriend, Joe Mccann, or McCann. I think he's a little bit older than her. When I looked him up, I don't recall seeing his age, but from my understanding, he is not significantly. Well, I want to say at least 10 years older, right? 10 years older than her. He's into cryptocurrency, finance guy, nothing to brag about. He did have kids. He was once married before, but nonetheless, they traveled to Africa, and he proposed to her. So again, this wasn't just any ordinary trip. This is supposed to be a celebratory trip. And of course, she wouldn't know that she was going to get, proposed to. But it was supposed to be fun. They were staying at the Zuri Hotel in Tanzania. And so, from what I read, on a couple of reports, right? I want to say CBS was one of the ones that I read. It was reported by one of the hotel staff that from the time they got to the hotel, they were bickering the whole entire time. So what you see on Instagram didn't give off, at least not to the hotel staff, that they were all lovey-dovey. They kept arguing. So, like I said, they had arrived on April the 4th. Hotel staff had mentioned that they were bickering or whatever. On April the 8th, the argument escalated to where hotel staff had to intervene. And it's like, listen, I've been in hotels. I have heard people going off, but when staff have to intervene and be like, wait a minute. The bickering was so bad that they moved Joe Mccann to another villa that was 10 minutes away from where Ashlee Jenae was residing. They felt the need to separate them that far. Now, granted, you can see like in her pictures, like it's a villa, so they're not just. It doesn't appear like just regular hotels, at least from the view that I got. Looked very nice, but like on her balcony, there's a field. There's a field, and there was a giraffe that was able to come to the balcony. So it wasn't like a hotel building. So about 10-minute walk. It doesn't sound like it's a distance, but by foot, not next door. So the couple was separated, and then a few hours later, Ashlee Jenae was found in the closet with a belt around her neck. And again, a couple of reports say that, okay, she had the belt around her neck. They didn't go into detail on how they found, at least what I read, on how they found her. It was a rope around her neck, and then staff came in. One report had mentioned that there was some movement, person panicked, and then ran out. And this is just coming from a nurse, and this is just, a note for everybody. When it's difficult to respond to a person that appears to be in distress, right? If you're the average individual. So even if that's the case, if someone saw this young lady and it looked like she was still breathing and then they decided to walk out, as insane as it sounds, but you have to understand that person's fear, not knowing what to do in the event that I touch this person. Will I be guilty of doing anything? So just let me stand clear and just let me go ask for help. So I hope that individual is not getting ridiculed whatsoever for not assisting. Now, yes, if they would have responded and provided some assistance, she may be here today. Help was called, and then they took her to the hospital, and Ashlee Jenae passed away the next day. So we're not here to accuse anybody of anything, but for Mr. Joe McCann, whatever his name is, I have some questions. Well, I have a question. So, what were you guys arguing about so much when y'all first got there? From the time y'all got there, according to staff, y'all were doing a lot of bickering, right? Mind you, traveling with anybody, whether it's a significant other, where it's children, where it's parents, where it's anybody, traveling can be stressful. And uh, a trip to Africa is not going to be an easy flight to one even get through. So could have been bickering over what, just being tired, being hungry. Maybe there were, situations at the hotel in general that wasn't appealing to Ashlee Jenae or even to yourself. So, what were you guys arguing about starting off, right? And what were you guys arguing that required the staff or the a hotel manager, whoever, to separate you guys 10 minutes apart, right? That's just not a small disagreement. Where did it get physical? Was there a lot of yelling to where you were disturbing other guests? What was it? Listen again. I have been in hotels. I have been places, stayed with people, had neighbors who make noise, but to the point, especially in a hotel, to the point where you have to get separated. It's like, what was the argument about? And why haven't we heard from you to go into further detail? And because did you disclose to her parents that you guys had argued and that's why you got separated? So I don't think I read that. I don't think that the argument to where you guys got separated was conveyed by you to Ashlee Jenae's parents. I could be wrong. Let me know down in the comment section if that was documented anywhere, but I don't recall seeing that. And the reason why I'm asking is because based on Ashlee's pictures, everything was looking so pleasant, soft kisses, like a whole dream, right? And this goes to the statement when people say you just can't really judge everything by what you see online, because when something looks a certain way, 9 times out of 10 it's the complete opposite. And Mr. McCann, I also would like to know, right, to where why the communication between you and Ashlee's parents is very minimal. Now, you had called initially when you found out that she was unresponsive. You called to let them know that she was being taken to the hospital because she had did something to herself, right? I guess based on what was said, either what was said to you or you saw that, because I've heard that you walked in on what she looked like. She had the belt around her neck. And I also read something that a staff member had found her with a belt around her neck and really wasn't sure what to do. Now, if it was you, right, you called the parents and say, hey, she did something to herself. She's going to the hospital. So when she was pronounced dead, her parents had to hear it from the hotel staff and not you. How come? Now, I'm only going to speak for myself, right? In the event that me and my husband leave the country, go on vacation, wherever it is, right? Out of country, in the US, wherever, and something happens to him, I'm calling and leaning on everybody who's willing to listen to me. I'm not a person who usually panics because I'm a nurse, so it's just like, see stuff all the time, been in stuff all it's just not one of those things that I do. I panic. But if my husband was pronounced dead because there was a suspicion that he did something to himself, the fact that he would even consider taking his life when we're supposed to have a good time, we're celebrating whatever, and that happens, my communication wouldn't be minimal. You see what I'm saying? So now, I guess I'm gonna give you the benefit of the doubt. Maybe you were advised, maybe you had to call your lawyer and say, hey, this is the situation. What should I do? Should I continue to talk to the family? What? The first person they're going to look at to be a suspect is going to be me, right? So what should I do? And you could have been advised to, like, you know what, kind of keep your distance. We're just going to comply with whatever, you know, the Tanzania authorities want us to do. So I could see that. If I know I didn't do anything, right, I probably wouldn't call a lawyer first. I would still lean on family. I still don't understand why only one call was made to them. Again, I'm not accusing anybody of doing anything, but you have to understand how it looks, right? How it looks. It doesn't sit well with anyone to where, one, this, you guys got into an argument, had to get separated. And then the communication with family became minimal, or it went from one call to nothing. And this is such a hard time. It's such a hard time that, you know, things are still up in the air. People, there aren't, clear answers on to what happened. So it's just a little odd. The Tanzania authorities are saying that, one, he's being held for further questioning and he won't be released until, the autopsy report is completed. This happened on the 9th of April. What day is this? So what's today? Today's the 19th when I'm recording it. And before I started to come up here and record this video, there still isn't a definitive report on what occurred. So 10 days later, what's the holdup? And if he's not a suspect, because they also said that he's not a suspect, so what are we doing? And if he's not a suspect, that goes back to my question just a few minutes ago. Why aren't you communicating with the family? Why aren't you leaning on the family for support? And this is so nerve-wracking because I can empathize, sympathize as a parent. As a parent of an adult child who at this point can get married, give me grandkids or whatever. I have a 26-year-old. I can't imagine what her parents are feeling. All of this is unnerving, that your child goes away with whom you think you can trust, right? Because even though our kids might be adults, right? As parents, we care about their safety. We think about, every little move they make. At least I do. We're hoping that whoever they're dating, that they love them and take care of them like we would, and they would protect them. Again, not accusing anybody. It's unnerving. And to have these questions and for them not to be completely answered, and then you can't even get to your child because you're in the US, they're in a different country. I can't even imagine. I can't even imagine what they're going through. So my condolences go out to her family, because I don't know what, can you imagine being in her parents' shoes, not knowing what's happening when you can bring your child home? Yeah, this is and I hope that the Tanzania, authorities move this along quickly and understand that there are family members who are suffering because, one, they don't know what happened. You know what I mean? I just hope they move quickly. So again, my condolences to your family, and I should have started off with that. So I want to talk about what people have been saying about Ashlee Jenae online. But I want to first start off by saying some of us don't know when it's appropriate to say certain things and when it's not. And when it comes down to a life that was lost and may have had their opinions while they were living, why do some of us make it our business to be disrespectful? Do people not realize that the person who has now passed have family members who are, one, probably filtering through comments, looking at what people are saying, trying to find answers, trying to find peace, and then they come across your comment and you're being super ignorant. Um, I can't process it. I don't understand it. And it's like, Lord, have mercy on your soul if you're that individual that is a type of person who's gonna say, well, that's what they get. Now, there were rumors that were or there were opinions that were mentioned or stated that Ashlee Jenae was a type of individual who would degrade black men. That's why she was with a white guy. You know, she just didn't like black men and give her opinions. This is what I did read when I was on Twitter. I was just going through her tweets and trying to see what people were seeing. What I did notice, people have poor comprehension skills. So what Ashley would do, she would respond to how people are talking to her. This young lady didn't appear like she was a punk nor scared of anything. She also was the type of individual, at least what I read, she was the type of person who uh, who would tweet about her blackness and loved who she was, loved black women, loved black people in general. Let's not act like there are platforms dedicated to degrading black women. So whenever those peons would come over onto her Twitter page and say some things to her about how she was dressed, how she would act, what she was doing, and was disrespectful, she commented back. It's probably something that I wouldn't say, and some things that I don't even, some words that she used that I don't even use in my vocabulary, whether on and off this camera. But she had the right to defend herself. So I don't see where the issue was and why people would say some heartless things during this time. So I came across Reddit, and I really don't visit Reddit like that, but I was trying to get a feel on what people were accusing Ashlee Jenae of doing and being. I was just fishing around to see what I could find. So I came across um, this thread. I'm not going to state where I found it. If you decide to put her name into the search engine on Reddit, I'm pretty sure you'll come across it. But the discussion is Ashlee Jenae, and this one states, I am pretty convinced her husband took her out, to use the K word, took her out. I'm not against interracial. I'm reading it how it is. I'm not against interracial, but her anti black man sentiments rubbed me the wrong way. You can be involved with non black partners without trashing the opposite gender of your race. It's clear she has some untreated trauma from whatever black men she was dealing with and didn't work through those sentiments internally. With that being said, she did not deserve to get taken out, and the worst part is I'm sure her husband might get away with it. Now, in response to that, right? I didn't engage in that conversation because I just feel like just people. First of all, again, we're not going to ignore some of our black men get on these platforms and they say some things and how we're just difficult. They just negative, right? Negative stuff altogether. Now, why does it have to be trauma? Now, I am a black woman who was married to a black man, and I've also dated a black man prior to the person that I married, right? Understand this coming from a black woman. When we say certain things, is based on our experiences, not because we are intentionally trying to bash, right? And if there were any love for us, there'd be more platforms uplifting us, no? Because it's the complete opposite. It's a complete opposite in some cases. And I don't understand why that this thread was even necessary, because how she dated, who she decided to date, and how she responded to who was coming at her shouldn't have never been a discussion. So what I'm asking for people to do is use your noggin. People only respond to what is said for the most part. How when I fished through all her things, I didn't see anything with her intent to degrade black men at all. Now she responded, but no intent to degrade. So I hope that kills that rumor altogether. And I hope that we all as a people do better and then stop, for one, stop making it about you. Someone lost their life. So I ask, if you don't have any respect for human life, just do us all a good favor and be quiet. Just think that her family may come across it, and this is not the time to discuss whatever is going on in your peasy little mind, and whatever disrespectful thing that you want to say. Be mindful that a person lost their life and that a family member may come across it. Please have some respect. I also want to talk about this photo, right? I came across, I was on her Instagram or whatever, and then I came across a TikToker, and she had brought it to her audience's attention about, in one of those photos that Ashlee Jenae took, there was two men in the background, right? Again, not saying these people did anything, but I'm gonna put the picture up here somewhere where you see these two men looking like they're looking dead at in her direction. I'm gonna only assume it's warm in Africa, right? Never been, but how Ashlee Jenae was dressed, I was like, okay, it looks hot, right? These men, as you can see, are dressed, covered up. Again, not saying that they are suspects, but if they have not been questioned, it wouldn't hurt. It wouldn't hurt to see who they are while they were looking in her direction. Now, mind you, Ashlee Jenae was a beautiful girl, right? They probably saw a beautiful queen and be like, and being a creep. It wouldn't hurt to look into that at all. I'm not saying that the gentlemen that were in the background of her picture did anything. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is just be mindful of your surroundings, because you clearly don't know who's lurking. And it could definitely, it could possibly save your life if you're aware of who's looking at you, who's around you, who you have access to. And she may have been aware that those gentlemen were standing there, but because she's so used to probably getting attention, and she's so used to filming and documenting her life with people around her, that she probably didn't think anything of it. It's just one of those things that I noticed along with others. Just kind of pay attention to what's around you. And on a safety note, if you are traveling, please, please, please keep in contact with your friends and family. Share your location with them. Check in. Not, you don't have to do it hourly, but at least, in the morning, in the afternoon, in the evening, kind of let them know. In the event that you meet new people on whatever resort you're on your whatever, just say, hey, by the way, I'm with so and so and so and so that look like this. Sneak a shot, or just say, you know what, let's take a selfie. Take a selfie and send it to your family and friends, so that in the event that if anything crazy were to occur, they could at least have something to say, okay, my daughter, my son let me know that they were hanging with these people. Their names are dot, 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 dot. And then so maybe things could be solved quicker, and there's no doubt of what's happening. Just stay connected and be safe. If you're traveling, go in groups. Even if it's supposed to be a couples thing, clearly things happen when it's just a one-on-one situation. Still, I don't care how long you've been with a person, you never know what's going on in a person's mind, what they're withholding, what they're going through internally, and for whatever reason they take it out on you. You still want to let folks know your whereabouts. So yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. My condolences go heavy to her family. I just can't imagine what they're going through. I pray that her family gets answers ASAP. They deserve that. And I hope they're able to bring her home ASAP so they can finally put her body to rest. You know, if you're a real person who likes to have real conversations but yet can keep it respectful, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. If you like this video today, go ahead and give it a like, give it a share, and leave a comment down below on what you thought today. I would love to hear your thoughts and opinions about this whole situation. But that's enough spit talking for today, and I will catch you all in the next one. Bye.
Yeah, so beautiful.